Is your performance in training really different from your performance on game? Do you perceive yourself to be inconsistent when you are playing important competitions? Know that you are not alone. There's nothing wrong with you and you can overcome this. But you should know that if you don't do anything, this problem will not disappear. And this problem ends with the career of several athletes because they never become able to use their skills when it matters the most. I'm Gabriel Dieno, I'm the creator of Athlete Mentality and also of the Athlete Mentality Academy. For the past years, I have been studying psychology, neuroscience, and the mind of the best athletes. All of that helped me to create a strategy for the Athlete Mentality Academy to work with athletes one-on-one. And by doing this work, I also realized that one of the most common problems that athletes face is not being able to use their full abilities when it matters the most. And if you're not playing up to your full potential in games, even though you have the skills, the challenge now is working on the mental side. And it shouldn't be that hard for you, since you are working really hard on the pitch and mental training requires way less physical commitment. As I said, there's nothing wrong with you, but there are several things wrong with coaching, schooling, parenting, and much more. But it's hard to point fingers because most people are doing the wrong thing without knowing they are doing the wrong thing. And that happens because just a few people know how the brain works and how to use the mental side to improve performance. Most of the people that give tips about the mental side, they have no clue about what they're talking about. And those tips, they are not even useless. When you use them, they make you worse. For you to try it out, type mindset or mentality on Instagram, see how many motivational pages with clearly no background speaking about the mind, and how many studied and trusted professionals you can find. Anyways, how can you use more of your potential in games? Let's get to work. To reach to the point of what you need to do, you gotta understand a little bit about how the mind works. And I created this model for you to understand what happens when you go to the game. Your performance on the game is the results of the skills you have times the interference. So what's interference? To summarize that, when there's no interference, or in other words, when you are in the zone of flow, you use all of your skills into your performance.
When you get in that zone, it's just a supreme confidence that you know it's going in. It's not a matter of if or this, that, it's going in. But when that happens, you really do not try to focus on what's going on because you can lose it in a second. You're not paying attention to one or the other. You just stand right there. You have to really try to stay in the present, not let anything break that rhythm. And get in the zone, you just kind of stay there. You don't become oblivious to everything that's going on.
But when you are not able to end all the interference, and when those things start decreasing your performance, that is because the interference is making you to not use your full ability. So what's actually interference? There are two main categories, and as I said, this is a model I created to explain how it works. The two categories of interference are the mental images and also the variables. The mental images refer to the picture you have on your mind about yourself, about the competition, the environment, your coach, your teammates, and so on. And the variables are 6: focus, confidence, motivation, anxiety, social needs, and biological needs. In this video, we are not really going much deep into how the mental images impact you. This requires more time to talk about. And in fact, there's an entire module teaching you how to work on these in the academy. But as a summary, those things are the way you perceive things to be. In our mind, the way you see yourself, the way you see the competition, it's not close to reality. And when they are negative or when they are not according to reality, they can impact us. Imagine that you see yourself as not being capable of achieving your goals. You will act like that. And when you act like you cannot do things right or that you are not good enough, when you go to the competition, you're not going to use your full skills just because you have the belief of you're not good enough. Or another example, if you have an image that you shouldn't make mistakes because the environment is dangerous, you have the possibility of embarrassing yourself. When you have that image about the competition, you become fearful and anxious to compete. What that makes is decreasing your performance. And if that happens to you, I highly recommend you start your mental training now. But let's move into the variables, how they work and how can you improve those things? How can you manage your confidence, your focus, your anxiety? I'll give you one tip for each one of those, and it's a simple tip, but they can be very helpful. Just before we move into that, the most important thing with mental training is changing your emotional reactions, your emotional perceptions of things. The way to do that is by working on your subconscious mind. So just repeating things to yourself won't change the way you see yourself or the competition. That's why I created a methodology to work on those things. It's the Athlete Mentality Academy. But for the variables, the first thing, confidence. The two things that you can do, pre-game visualization and self-talk.
Self-talk is a technique that positively manages your inner voice. It only takes a few minutes and helps you prepare for the 90 ahead. Let any negative thoughts go and replace them with the positive I can or I will statements. It helps if you recall a great performance from the past.
Before you go to the game, visualize your past best performances and really go through those things on your mind. The best way to make your brain believe you are capable of doing something is showing your brain that you have done that in the past. It doesn't have to be game. Any time that you were successful matters. Every time that you were successful in the past counts. So visualize those things. And also use self-talk to make yourself confident. When you make a mistake, repeat to yourself, keep going, next play speaks, I'll do better next time. Instead of blaming yourself and thinking about how bad things can be if you make another mistake. For focus, you can use a mantra that is very similar to self-talk. The only difference is that you choose the quote before, so you just repeat the same thing to yourself. For anxiety, the best way to work with it is seeing it as excitement. Every time you feel yourself to be really anxious, instead of trying to fight it or trying to hide it, see it as excitement. Think about the day of your birthday. You wake up really excited. That is not anxiety, that is excitement, and that is really good. And in fact, the physiological changes in your body of excitement and anxiety are very similar.
I think nervousness brings excitement.
For motivation, the two best things that you can have is set your goals and commit yourself to those. Track your progress. The more you see that you are making progress, the more motivated you get. Your social needs are most of the times related to prove something or getting approval of other people. The best thing to do that is reminding yourself that you don't need those things. The most effective thing is to work on your subconscious. The more you do that, the less you try to require those things. And for the biological needs, it's the most simple. Eat well and sleep well. Those things should solve the problem. Lastly, if you want to join the Athlete Mentality Academy, I highly recommend you do that. The link is in the description of the video. I hope you apply those tips. I hope they're helpful to you. If you have any questions about those, send me a direct message on Instagram and I'll do my best to help you out. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos, any tips regarding the mental side. If you enjoyed it, like the video, follow me on Instagram. I see you soon.